5 secondary school students admit raping female colleagues. 5 secondary school students from Ejioku Community Grammar School in Oyo State have confessed to assaulting and abusing female students from another school. The students were arrested by the Amoteku Corps, Oyo State Command, after authorities were informed about the incident. The suspects, identified as Mayowa 17, Joshua 16, Sheung 17, Sunday 16, and Bassett 17, have had their surnames withheld. Sheung and Sunday are siblings sharing the same mother but different fathers. In an interview, the boys explained that they lured the female students to the school farm under false pretenses, claiming that other students were gathered there. Mayowa, an SS3 student who struggled to speak English, stated that the incident took place when the female students visited their school on December 5th. What happened was that we had finished our exams, and when that happens, students usually go to other schools around them to play with fellow students. Some female students came to our school on Thursday, December 5th. 4 of the female students got near our school field and we went to them. Our principal and teachers were in their offices while we were on the field. One of us, Bassett, knew one of the girls. He further said we deceived them into believing that other students were playing on the school farm, volunteering to take them there. Usually we used to play on the farm with colleagues, tying ropes on 2 closed trees and swinging on them. The girls followed us, but we had the motive of sleeping with them. On getting there, we told them that we wanted to have sexual relationship, which they turned down. We picked them one by one and took them to different spots on the farm, laid them on their backs on the grass and abused them. I didn't know what others were doing at their own corners. When the girl with me didn't want to yield, I told her that another boy would pick her up if she tried to run away, asking her to do the normal with me. I asked her to remove underwear and mount her. It was difficult penetrating because the girl was a virgin. So, what are your thoughts on this story? We have young children, 16, 17 years. What does this say about our parenting style, about us as a people? This is a rather sad incident.
Yeah, it's a very sad incident, and I will say it's a pity. And definitely, just like you said, I will blame it on the parents. I'll blame it on parental training.
Right.
You know, there is a saying that you should train up a child in the way he should go. So definitely when parents doesn't give a child a sense of direction,
right,
then anything goes. I recently heard a saying that changed my perspective about choices. He said, if you don't make a choice, then anything goes.
Right.
A typical example is you are going to the market and you want to get something. It happens to everybody. You want to get a shoe or a cloth, for instance. If you don't have a mindset of, okay, this is what I'm going to get, no other thing other than this. When you eventually get to the market without having a choice, you will end up getting what you didn't want to get. You will end up regretting getting it, and you may end up spending more.
Right.
So that's also typical about life.
Right.
Definitely, these children doesn't have any business doing what they are doing.
Now, that was going to lead me to my second question. You know, growing up, we had many children wanted things like, they want to go to their friend's house and play Nintendo. People want to, you know, use Tura soap to make a car, pull tires. That was what secondary school children did. They want to play football, dirty their uniform and get home. What has changed? Why the constant need and drive for children to want to engage in sexual intercourse?
Okay, before I get to why the constant need to get into sexual intercourse, growing up, I remember very well my dad made it clear that he don't stay outside his house beyond 6 p.m. Even up to now, I don't stay outside my home beyond 6 p.m. except for work-related issues, which I can't help. I can't visit a friend and stay beyond 6 p.m. It's not possible. This is what I'm saying, training up a child in the way that he should go. Now, but the major reason why children of this age, of these generations, are more sexually inclined is because we live in a sexualized world.
Sadly so.
Yeah. There is absolutely nothing that doesn't have a sexual context in it. And music, videos, movies, adverts. You could imagine as worse as a car advert today, there is still a bit of sexuality in it. You watch soap commercials, drink commercials, there is
Another tone.
Yeah, of sexuality in it. And you see, I studied psychology. Things we see, things we hear, in as much as we don't pay attention to them, they register in our subconsciousness. And later on, they start playing out. This turns to fantasies. And essentially, a man's personality is made up of the ID, the ego, and the superego. The ID will want to play its role, which is what? Fulfilling every desire. Those are the fantasies. And where a child doesn't have a sound home training, this example of the case we are seeing now takes over them, and they try to satisfy these fantasies, and they will go to any length to see them satisfied.
What are your thoughts as regards peer pressure? How has it, enhanced things like this? Now, some people come from good families where these moral values are being taught. Their parents tell them, don't do this, don't do that. I know that in this time, as we are as a nation, inflation has been on the rise for a few years. Many parents are juggling 2-3 businesses, 2-3 jobs, trying to put food on the table. So on one hand, let's think about, do you think the economic hardship has made parents neglect their role in the life of their children? Then on the other hand, I want us to also talk about peer pressure. Do you think even though a child is well brought up from home, the intent of peer pressure, wanting to do, because now we have about 5-6 boys over here in this story, do you think that there is not one of them that would have thought, okay, this is not a good idea, but because of peer pressure, he was inclined enough to follow them? What are your thoughts as regards how peer pressure has influenced, the mindset of children in schools?
Definitely. Peer pressure is core. Peer pressure is stronger than parental pressure. Peer pressure is stronger than religious pressure. Peer pressure is the strongest of all pressures. However, a child is born tabula rasa, and training the child, you program the child. And when the child comes in contact with information contrary to the information that the child has, the child will be resistant. Do you understand? So this is one thing that can help cushion peer pressure. Now, yes, the state of the economy is also a contributing factor, because now parents don't spend quality time with their children anymore.
And it means to make ends meet.
Yeah, in a bid to make ends meet. Yes, correct. And they don't look after the well-being of their children. They don't know where their children are. They don't know where they have been to. They don't know who they are mingling with. I remember growing up, there is this saying growing up that a child is the responsibility of everybody. The training of a child, yes, is the responsibility of everybody. But the same does not go now.
Why?
Then, if I do something wrong and a senior person spanks me, my parents are going to support him and spank me too. But today, if someone spanks a child, no matter what that child has done, the parents are going to come after that person.
Why do you think those values fail, given that we're communal people from the beginning?
One of the reasons, if I should say, my own opinion, why those values are no longer there is security. Security in the sense that, back then, like growing up, my school could be as far as a kilometer, some miles, and as a child, when I mean as a child, less than 10, I walk to school. But it's no longer obtainable now.
All right.
Even if it's obtainable, it's very few children. And those few children are actually children that their parents cannot afford a lot of things, which means that they don't have any option but to do that. But every average parent will not allow their children to trek to school these days. So security is one of the things that affected values like that. And again, it's what I will call it exposure. I'm trying to find out the right word to use, but I will call it exposure, Western exposure.
Western exposure.
Yeah, Western exposure. Everybody wants to, show that.
You're civilized.
Yes, that's the word. I'm civilized, I can take care of my affairs. Don't poke nose into my family. Don't poke nose into my business. Mind your own business.
Are you saying that Western civilization, as it were practiced now, has made us deviate from our communal core attributes that we were known for?
Every practice has their pros and their cons.
Right.
I'm not saying Western civilization in its entirety is wrong. No.
Right.
But it's a culture. We have our culture. We have deviated from our culture. An average Nigerian child may not be able to speak their dialect.
Sadly so.
That's what I'm saying. We are more of Western civilization than the traditional African Nigerian civilization. So back to the story at hand.
Right.
Now we talked about peer pressure. So we talked about the family,
And the parents
the economy. So we can attribute all these factors to some of the factors that are influencing the parents from doing the needful in setting a course for these children.
Before we go towards setting a course with the parents, I want us to, go broader in a broader scope. As it's where, as people, Nigeria is a very religious country. We have lots of people. We have traditionalists. We have Christians. We have the Muslims. Everybody has some form of a belief. I would say in Nigeria, we have fewer atheists, as it's where, than you can compare it to other countries in the world, because many people were born in churches or into the religion, and most people get to practice it over time. Now, a child spends their time in 3 places most of the time. They spend their time at home with their parents, they spend their time in school, and they spend their time in whatever religious belief their parents practice or they practice. Now, what do you think, or what roles do you think the church and the school can play in helping keeping children more informed? Like talking to them, advocating, because you cannot really talk enough about these things. And some families and some parents have thought that having sex education discussions with their children is a taboo.
Yeah, based on religious beliefs.
Based on religious beliefs. Now, what role do you think the religion and the schools that these children attend, what roles can they play simultaneously with core of what probably the children are getting from their parents at home, to merge it in a way that children are more taught about sexual relations, they are more taught about consent, which is a very important topic, taught about consent, and also taught about the dangers of peer pressure?
Okay, the truth is that the children spend less time with the parents as they advance. So the parents have, as the children advance, as they grow up, the parents start having fewer influence over them. I'm sorry that I'm taking us back. That's why I will always say the principal factor in this situation, in this everything, is the parents.
Right.
You must give your child that foundation that will make whatever information your child gets, it will make your child to be resistant to that information unless it becomes obvious that there is a greater truth in that information different from what the parents have told them. Now, let's come to the religious bodies. And that's where I said that every culture has its pros and its cons. Now, even the religious organizations borrow Western methods, but they borrow some and leave some. Now, the same religion that is being practiced here,
Right.
when they are being practiced in their place of origin, they still educate these children. It's taught in churches, in mosques. It's taught. That's why the Muslims, they cover their body for the females. It's taught. A man that is not married to you should not see your body. It's taught. But we fail to do that here.
Why?
I don't know. For us, we feel, just like you mentioned, it's a taboo. But it shouldn't be. These are informations that are beneficial to us. You know, I tell teenagers something, or parents rather, I tell them something. When you are teaching your children, don't tell them, don't do this. As you are telling them, don't do this, ensure you tell them why they should not do that.
Reason.
Yeah. If you tell a child, especially teenagers, don't do this, and you fail to tell them why, if someone convinces them that this is why you shouldn't do this, but this is what you will gain doing this, they'll go ahead to do that. Why? They know why. That why question is a key question. Now they know why. Don't smoke, don't drink, don't party. Why? You didn't answer that question. Peer pressure, this is where peer pressure comes in.
Right.
Someone from their peer will tell them, but we do all these things and nothing happens. Nothing happens. Man, if you come, you are going to have fun. You are going to enjoy yourself. You didn't tell them why, the dangers involved. You just told them, hey, I don't want to see you do this. And that's all. Another person is coming to tell them, my guy, if you come, you are going to have fun. That's the why. Come and have fun. And because of that fun, or whatever the why is, if that why is satisfactory to them, then they will go ahead to do that.
Go ahead to do that. Thank you so much.